All right, simplifying algebraic expressions. Let's go. Okay, first up we're going to talk about is a term. So a term is, they're going to say that a lot, but just realize that a term is just whatever or why we have the plus or minus signs to separate our algebraic expressions. So like, whoop, that didn't work. Let's try that again. Where did my clicker go? So let's try that again. 3. Never mind, we'll keep going. So constants and coefficients. A constant is a term out of a variable. So that would be 3, 4, 5. Basically, a number is a constant, and a coefficient is the numerical part of that term. Here, let's look at what that looks like. So a coefficient here, 2x. 2 is the coefficient of x. And there are 4 different terms here. One whole term separated by a plus or minus, a whole term separated by a plus or minus, separate an x separated by that a plus or a minus. So those are each terms. There is a constant is a number when it's by itself without an x or a y or an n or whatever letter. If a letter is by itself totally, technically it has a 1x there, or there's a 1 in front of it. Technically, mathematicians are lazy. I say that a lot, so just make sure you know that. All right, so like terms that contain the same variable. It has to be exactly the same. So like 5x, 2x, 3x, 8x, all of these are like terms. So in this case, I could have a 5y, 2y, 8y. I could technically add all those things when they say combine like terms. So I'd have 7, 15y is what I'd have here. So this would actually could be simplified to 15y plus 3. I can't take the 3 in there because it doesn't have the same coefficient. It has to have the exact coefficient. But that constant can just stay. Simplest form is an algebraic expression that has no like terms or parentheses. So you'll have to combine like terms, distribute out parentheses. If you get that they're in there, then it's in simplest form. Simplifying an expression when you use combining of like terms and the distributive property to simplify something, which is what you're going to do a lot of today. So it could look something like this, where you have 3x plus 2 plus 2x. When I would distribute that out to 3x plus 6 plus 2x, now I use the distributive property. Now I'm going to combine like terms. The like terms I have are 3x and 2x, so I can combine those together. 5x plus 6. There is no like terms, and there's no parentheses, therefore it is in simplest form. All right, pause this one and answer it in Edpuzzle. Okay, so 5x and 5y, are they like terms? No. They have to have the exact same letter to be like terms. So identify the terms, like terms, coefficients, and constants. This one takes a little bit. It's okay. We just want to make sure you know how to do it. All right, so they're going to define it by subtraction by taking them out of the negative form, so they're all adding. From there, we're going to use the identity property. We're going to put the 1 in front of the x here. Okay, so terms are 4x, negative x, 2y, and negative 3. The like terms are the ones that have the same coefficients. So x and x can be combined. The coefficients of those like terms are 4 and 1. Sorry, I used coefficients wrong just a second ago there. And 2. The constant is 3. So you're just going to, I'd probably do these vertically in your homework. So I'd put like terms are these, and then the next one. So pause this, give it a shot. All right, so terms are going to be 5x, and then it's separated by a plus or a minus, so the next one would be 3y. There's a plus or a minus. It's going to be 2y with a negative and 6. So that'll be my terms, my coefficients. Coefficients are going to be 5, 3, 2, and maybe 6. Nope, then the constant is 6. Constant would be 6. Oh, they wanted something else there too. Like terms. Like terms. I've got a x or a y and a y are the only ones that are like terms. So 3y and negative 2y. Those are the only like terms that we have. All right, simplify these together. So combine like terms, distributive property. 5x and 4x are like terms, so therefore I can add them together. Yeah, you could distribute them out. If you really want to think of it this way, you can. You can distribute them out and then add them together. 5 and 4 is x. You know, I usually in my brain, I just say there's 5 x's and 4 x's, make it 9 x's. That's just my way of doing it. I think it's a little easier. But if you need to do this, feel free. If this makes more sense. All right, simplify this. Again, combining like terms and distributing if necessary. So I only have 2 terms that are like, which is 8 and 4, 8n and 4n. So I can add those 2 together. Oh, so sorry, let's make sure we do how the book says. So first they reordered them to make them easier to read. So I have 8 and 4 next to each other. Then I use the distributive property to put 8 and 4 in parentheses. Then I can add those together, which will make 12n plus 4. All right, keep going on the simplifying. So I've got 2 sets of like terms this time. So I have the x's are like terms, and then I have 2 constants, which are also a like term. So first they're going to flip them. So additive inverse. Then they're going to redistribute them around so that it's easier to use. So then we're going to add the 6 and the negative 5. Then we're going to add the 4 and the negative 7 together. So yeah, they kind of skipped a step there. So 6 minus 5, it'll be 1x. So I will just leave that. So we go to 1x and we'll positive, and then so we'll just leave that as x. 4 minus 7 is going to be a negative 3. So that's why they go over here, x minus 3, and that would be my answer. All right, example 2, letter D. Negative y plus 2, and then x plus 3y. Going to get a little more complicated here, but we're just adding another step to what you guys have already been doing. All right, so first they want to distribute. So they multiplied these across. Then we're going to evaluate those down. So it's 2x and 6y. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So I put the 1 in front of here just so we make sure we know what that is. And they want to rearrange y and y, which will end up being a 5y. I probably would have just looked at this and go negative 1 and 6 are like terms. So I can combine those together. So it'd be 6 minus 1. So I'd end up with a 6y or a 5y. So I would just very quickly go on 5y and then plus 2x. And probably would have just left it there. So distribute 5y plus 2x. There you go. And that would be your answer. All right, pause this out. I think I'm going to make you do one of them on Edpuzzle. All right, we'll try to do these quick. 7a plus 2a would be 9a's. The only combined like terms here are the ones with x, so 5 plus 7 is going to give me 12x's, so 12x plus 3. Like terms would be m and m. So 3 minus 1, 3m's minus 1m would be 2m's. And then 9 minus 6 would be 3, positive 3. So this one will distribute out a little more here to make it a little easier on us. So I'm going to have to do it this way. So 7b plus 3c, 3 times there, and then minus 6b. Combine like terms, 7b's minus 6b's. See, and they like to reorder it, 7b minus 6b plus 3c. So they reorder it first. 7z's minus 6b's would be 1b plus 3c's. Let's see what we get. 9a, 2, and 3m minus 2, and then b minus 3c. All right, you and a friend worked in the school store last week. You worked for 4 hours more than your friend. Write an expression in simplest form that represents the total number you both worked. Total number of hours you both worked. All right, so you and a friend worked some hours. We don't know how many. You worked 4 more than your friend. So we're going to take that and use those things we did in chapter 1, learning how to put these into words into a expression. So I'm going to say h is going to be my variable because that's how many we both worked. And then I worked 4 more, or you worked, I should say. You worked 4 more hours than your friend, so it'd be h plus 4. So to find the total, we're going to add both expressions together. So I'd have h plus 4, which can be associated around, as in we can move the parentheses. So we just swap the parentheses. Then we can add the 2 h's together, which gives me 2h plus 4. The answer 2h plus 4 represents the total number of hours worked, and where h is the hours that you have your friend worked.